Prepare against them whatever you are able of power and of steeds of war, by which you may terrify the enemy of Allah, and your enemy, and others besides them, whom you know not, but whom Allah knows. And whatever you spend in the cause of Allah will be fully repaid to you, and you will not be wrong.
In Munich, prosecutors say that the man who was accused of driving a car into a crowd of people in the city yesterday appears to have had a religious motivation. During a news conference in the city, the chief state prosecutor, Gabriele Tillman, said while it was not yet certain, it does seem, given what the suspect himself has said, that the incident was an Islamist-motivated attack. This is what she said.
From everything we have seen and read so far, I can comfortably say that we see an Islamist motive. But what we also want to say is that there is no indication that the suspect was part of an Islamist organization like ISIS. No indication at all.
If he's not part of ISIS and he's not part of Al-Qaeda, then he's not part of an organization, apparently. Well, unfortunately, we live in reality, right? So, my 2 cents is that he is in an organization. As we all know, it's called Islam. We all know that Muslims are called to do this sort of thing from their very own prophet, and their very own Allah, and their own book. Just the other day, I went over how Muhammad had his schizophrenic demon named Allah tell him that people's lands were his, their houses were his, their properties were his, all given to Muhammad by Allah himself. I might be butchering the Quran, being a jahil, so let's go to Ibn Kathir just to make sure everything is uptight with my interpretation. I butchered it, right? So our beloved Ibn Kathir reminds us that Allah had these people killed by Muhammad, then their houses was his, then their lands were his, then their properties were his.
Well, police there now say that 36 people were injured in that suspected attack, 2 of them seriously, 1 is a child, and we've been speaking to Michael Jaeger, who's a trade union member who was at the rally that was attacked by that vehicle.
I was near the rear of the march. We were just walking down the street when I heard a loud motor engine revving up, followed by a crash. I turned around and I saw dozens of people lying on the ground injured, dozens more somehow stopping the vehicle with the engine still going. And I saw many people try to run away, many other people try to run toward the injured people and try to administer first aid, and that's what I did as well. A lot of the people who were there realized, as did I, that this is going to be used by politicians to argue for more strict policies against asylum seekers, against refugees, against foreigners. And a lot of people felt that this cannot abide. They would not want to be instrumentalized like that. And that's why we organized, still while we were all in shock, a demonstration yesterday evening against this political instrumentation. I think all of the politicians were doing that. The blood had not dried on the streets when Markus Söder, Prime Minister of Bavaria, was already on scene, spoke like about 2 sentences about his grief for the victims, for the injured. Luckily, no death so far. Then he almost immediately pivoted to his usual message of we need to be tough on crime, tough on immigrants. We need to send immigrants back to their home countries, which is political messaging that the trade union members, remember trade unions stand for solidarity, would not support. And we are shocked and disgusted by this messaging.
It's Michael Jaeger, a trade union member who was at that rally attacked in the vehicle attack yesterday in Munich.
Whoa, based? I haven't heard some common sense like this in a long time. Now, this guy's telling us to get rid of the foreigners, get rid of the people that push Islamic ideas. I couldn't see a better option, right? So these people, they don't push the same goals as Westerners, definitely don't push the same goals as Europeans. The Prophet even said that Islam is a strange thing. It's not fit for this world. It's a very strange thing, and it would revert to being in its old position, being a strange thing, right? Just as it started. and it would recede between two mosques just as a serpent crawls back into its hole, Islam being the serpent. So I think we should make this God-forsaken serpent, as it is, recede back into its hole, right? This is from the hadith of the Prophet, Sahih Muslim 146 and Sahih Muslim 147. Verily, the faith would recede to Medina just as a serpent crawls back into its hole. It doesn't surprise me. I'm not surprised anymore, especially after the recent attacks. Like, come on now. New Year's, we had a guy drive into a bunch of people in a pickup truck. We had, after that, Salwan Momika killed, a few other incidents, and it will just keep going on and on and on. As far as Salwan Momika goes, there's a hadith that I would like to bring, right? There was a companion of the Prophet who murdered his pregnant slave, I guess what you could call it. Anyways, this pregnant slave was killed by one of the companions of the Prophet because she was making fun of Muhammad. She was critiquing him and saying stuff about his religion, and the guy stabbed her and cut her up until the baby of his that was inside of her spilled out and blood was smeared everywhere. The Prophet said, I endure this action. If there's anybody who's as illiterate as a prophet, adjure means to basically request. If I adjure you to tell the time, it's basically tell me the time, right? So if you are to kill your pregnant slaves, and so on and so forth, and kill your soon-to-be son or daughter, just because, you know, a woman made fun of the Prophet that you made pregnant, who's a slave, then how much more does Muhammad want you to go kill the Iraqi-Swedish guy burning Qurans? Moving on to the next controversial event, and this one truly is controversial, as it was a gay imam that was murdered by Muslims. Now, many people say, oh, we don't know who killed these people. Maybe, we don't know yet. Oh, shoot, this is a mystery, boys. We need, like, really. I'm sorry for laughing, but, like, seriously, who else would be out for this guy's blood? Anyways, he was ambushed and killed, right? He was by a guy just opening up a car door, as you can see in the video, and just aiming and shooting and killing the gay imam, the first public gay imam. Now, I'm sorry to say, Muslims, but your prophet was fucking gay and mixed in with a little something else, right? His cousin narrated to us that he saw, right, which is really weird that his cousin saw this. Anyways, Ibn Abbas, right, saw his cousin, the prophet, kissing his grandchild's penis, right? Now, that's not only a little bit gay, it's also mixed in with a little bit of incest. According to Al-Mujam al-Kabir by At-Tabari, volume 12, page 108, hadith 1215, which is right here where you see that little fucking red circle around the shitty scribbly shit, says that I saw the prophet. Remember, this is the cousin of the prophet. I saw the prophet spreading apart the thighs of Al-Hassan, his grandson, and kissing his penis. In the book Dar al-Sahaba by Al-Shakani, page 297, Al-Tabarani narrated with a good chain of transmission on the authority of Ibn Abbas, who's the cousin of the prophet, who said, I saw the messenger of God, may God bless him and grant him peace, spread the space between Al-Hussein thighs and kiss his penis. Remember, in the hadiths, Musnad Ahmed 2879, Ibn Abbas reported, the messenger of Allah, peace and blessings be upon him, put his hand on my shoulder, and he said, O Allah, give him understanding in religion and teach him the interpretation of the Quran, and make sure he tells people about how I kissed my grandson's penis. If you don't consider that gay, right, we have other hadiths where it goes over Muhammad being a little bit low-key gay and sexual with his companions. Let's go over it. This is Sunan Abi Dawud 5224. A man of the Asnar said that while he was given to jesting, like telling a joke, like a jester, right, and was talking to the people, making them laugh, the prophet poked him under the ribs with a stick. He said, let me take retaliation. He said, take retaliation. He said, you are wearing a shirt, but I'm not. The prophet then raised his shirt, and the man embraced him and began to kiss his side. Now, I don't know if you get half naked with your boys and let them embrace and kiss your side, but Muhammad did. Muhammad, he also snuggled with men, right? So, inside of the hadiths of Sahih al-Bukhari 3207, we have very clearly that the prophet said, while I was at a house in a state midway between sleep and wakefulness, an angel recognized me as the man lying between two men. Muhammad was sandwiched between two men, sleeping, snuggling up with them. I'm just saying, if you don't like gay moms, maybe you shouldn't like gay prophets.